Here's a message that I'm uncovering in my walk, my faith walk, my walk with the Lord is getting curious about faith, getting curious about others and their faith and what they mean by some of the things they may say about their beliefs, whether they're Christians or not. I went to a Starbucks, it's actually right behind me, 2 days ago. And an amazing young man said, how are you doing today? And I said, great, how are you? And he said, blessed. And when he said blessed, I thought about it. Like I could sense, that was a message about, how he was doing, but also that it might mean something deeper. And so I thought about that. And in the moment, I just, got my coffee. And then the next day, he comes up to me and he says, how you doing? I already got my coffee, just came out to say hi. Really good dude. And, he says, how are you doing? I say, I'm doing good. How are you? He said, I'm blessed. And I said, you know what? What do you mean by that? Like, what does that mean to you, that you're blessed? And we got into a whole conversation about his faith, his belief, his following of the Lord. And it opened up a beautiful conversation, but we never know. We never know what someone might mean by what they say. And, I had another conversation later in the day yesterday, and it was with a guy in my community. And I see him in passing, walking the dog. He's always got these shirts on that, are just, I think, positive. I didn't know if they were faith-based shirts. And so we got into a conversation because he was curious about solar panels. And so I said, yeah, I see the shirts that you wear. Are you, what's your faith? What's your belief? And he said he's Muslim. And in that moment, I realized, and we got into a deeper conversation. I just shared, I said, hey, I'm on this faith walk and really learning about what it means to be a believer in Jesus and born again and all that stuff. And I'm just getting really curious about what people believe. And it was so easy to share that, say that, and then say, I'd love to talk to you sometime, on a deeper level about it and understand, what your beliefs are. And that's kind of set the stage. And then his wife is Christian. And I said, we should just get together. We should get together and have dinner as, two couples and just kind of build relationship and all of that and really get to know each other, like break bread. And he's like, yeah, let's do that. We've been actually looking for a couple of like-mindedness in many ways and, same age. And but that, I think it comes from us being willing to be curious, willing to just ask simple questions. And I realized how easy it can be if we're just listening and then asking simple questions. Listening and asking simple questions. It doesn't take much. And whole worlds can open up. And then we just let God do the work. Like it's not up to us. I mean, sometimes we think it's more difficult than it really is. And sometimes all we need to do is listen and ask a couple questions and get curious. So that's what I'm learning. Getting curious with others, their beliefs, their faith, their walk. What are they doing? What does that mean? Have a blessed day. Be blessed. How are you? I'm blessed. Take care.